All right, welcome back. It's time to talk about District 1 now. And joining us now is Councilman Brian Pledger. He's the incumbent. He's the candidate for Terrebonne Parish Council District 1, and he's closest to me on this side. And then we have Ralph Singleton Jr., who's also a candidate. He made the runoff. We appreciate both of y'all being here. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you,
Thank you, Martin.
All right, let's talk about District 1. We'll start off with Councilman Brian Pledger. What have you learned since you've been up there and you've taken the seat? And sort of give me your best description of District 1. What's it all about?
District 1 is comprised of, it's a vast area. It encompasses Bayou DeLarge, the Patriot Point Community, Village East, Mechanicville, and also parts of Deweyville, which is sort of the downtown portion of Houma. And what I've found since being elected, that the people in that district, they've always associated District 1 with just the Mechanicville area. By far, that's not what it really is as a whole. And I've found as I've traveled throughout the district that I need to, or anyone that's within parish government needs to focus more on the district as a whole. And the people don't really know a lot of things about the politics portion of it as far as getting things done and who to contact within parish government. And that's where I feel that I'm most needed to bridge the gap currently within District 1.
Okay, let me turn to Ralph. First of all, we talked before. Why did you jump in the race, and what were some of the needs in District 1 that you saw needed some attention?
So again, back to what we said in our first interview. It's something that I gravitated to, like we talked about Uncle, seeing him go about and his campaigning, going on those days, seeing him, campaigning, going door to door for him is something that I'm interested in doing, seeing how interactive the people were with the candidates and seeing how, he interacted with those. And it just is something that I gravitated to that I really like to do, and it's something that I seen myself in when I coming up in age. It's something that I said, man, I could see myself doing that. I could see myself serving the community that helped raise me, serving the elders that gave me wisdom, serve the elders that, came to my family and pushed me to keep doing my best, to going to college, playing football, all the supporters. And it's what better way than to give back to those who gave to you.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, because, Brian, you made a good point in your answer also. A lot of attention goes to Senator Circle in those areas. And I said it before, not all rightly so, because they have a lot of great people that live in those areas too. But you're right, all the attention seems to go there, but there's other people in that district going, well, what about us? So how do you plan on shining that light all the way around? And what are some of the ideas you have? We're going to have a new parish president, whoever that may be. And y'all going to have a big voice in District 1. So what are some of the plans there?
Well, for myself, Martin, I'm glad you asked that. That falls right into my mission currently, what's happening right now in District 1. And you say shining light as an adage, but I've went throughout the whole district, and I have an initiative currently in the process of bringing new lights to the district itself as a whole, upgrading the old yellow lights to LED lights in various districts. The folks out there that are watching this, they can see it. So I am shedding light on the district, but how am I going to bring the districts together? I also, on last week, reached out to both parish president candidates, and we had a forum. We had a sit down with just the people that are coming from District 1, various communities of District 1, such as I had representation from Village East, I had representation from the Patriot Point, the Ashland North area, also Bayou DeLarge, and also Mechanicville and Deweyville. I brought all of those constituents from the respective district or from the respective areas within my district, and we had a sit down so I can bridge that gap, that they'll know who one another are, who the respective folks are in the various districts or various areas within my district. So what am I going to do? I'm bringing our folks together in District 1 so they'll know that it's not just Mechanicville that matters. It's all of them, and all of them as a whole, they all have a voice, with me being that facilitator between government to show them what we need to do to make District 1 that what it is, number one.
Okay. Ralph, similar question. You come from a younger background. What do you think some of the reason is that for so long, District 1 got a bad rap because of just very few people? But it seems like that always multiplied a little bit. When in fact, we had bad people in Ellendale. We had bad people in Mulberry. We had bad people in Barrios. We had bad people in Summerfield. But for all the bad ones, there's so many good people. But there became a mystique about certain areas in District 1. What would you do to help correct that?
So everything goes back to when I first announced that I wanted to do this. I wanted to be a candidate for District 1. We need to bring the community together. And like I said in our first interview, I bring everything back to football terminology. We have to have everybody buy into the system. Because it doesn't start with the idea. It doesn't start with the funding. It starts with everybody buying into the system. People continue to come forward. Those continue to speak up. But at the same time, when these people do speak up, they have to be heard. And once they're heard, the effort has to go into helping them understand the process, like Mr. Pleasure said, the process of how things will get done, and giving them feedback. I spoke with a lady in Mechanicsville, Miss April, and what she said resonated to me. She said, Ralph, if you get in there or whoever it is that wins the seat, I don't want to feel like I'm forgotten about. I want to be heard, and there's nothing against Mr. Pleasure. I'm not saying Mr. Pleasure's not doing anything or so on and so forth, but the people want to be heard, and the people want to feel like their words aren't just going in one ear and out the other.
Okay. Let's take a break. We're going to come back with segment 2 right after this, talking about District 1. Don't go away. Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health Systems, modern technology, and timeless caring. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bork, know your rights. All right, we are back in District 1 once again, and we have Councilman Brian Pledger. He's on your left on the TV screen, and Ralph Singleton Jr., both candidates for District 1. And I got to laugh a little bit because y'all get along. And I just commended one of the past debates we had in the council race because they were getting along and cutting up, often at the break. And y'all get along, and it sort of leads into my next question because we've seen some doozy fights on the council. We've seen, I've been covering the council since '85. I've seen people roll their sleeves up and invite the other one to go outside. Now, I know a lot of that was because we were just starting to televise, so there was a little showmanship. But what I learned about people, if y'all are getting along and joking around and you're running against each other, it tells me y'all both have the capability of getting along with other people you didn't even run against. So, if you don't mind, we'll start with Ralph this time. How important is it to get along with the council? You may not always agree with where they're going, but every week should not be a fight.
Right. So, and that goes, me and Mr. Pledger had a conversation a little while ago. We're all in this together. At the end of the day, he may have his idea, I may have my idea, he may have his opinions, I have mine. But at the same time, we all are in this, the whole council is for the community, for the Parish of Terrebonne. We all have to get along together. And like I said, we all have to buy into the system of we're trying to make Terrebonne Parish better. And so, Mr. Pledger, I may disagree with him, he may disagree with me, but at the same time, we're trying to work toward the same goal. Yes, we're, I guess, you say fighting for the same position, so and so speak, but we just want the best for District 1, and that's all that matters.
And Brian, same question. I mean, it's so important. Don't get me wrong. I would be lying if I sat here and told y'all that every now and then somebody doesn't want a good debate. But stay within the guidelines. make it a good, hearty debate. No name calling, no vile stuff. And what are your thoughts on that?
Well, Martin, when I had the conversation with Mr. Singleton, we vowed to one another that we would make sure that we can be behind closed doors and have our differences, but at the same time, we need to make sure that our goal, we both have the same, a different mission, but we have the same goal, and that's to make District 1 a better community as a whole here in Terrebonne Parish. Even more so, Martin, it's one of those things where politics, as you very well know, since '85, it turns into mudslinging and rolling up your sleeves and, talking about other folks. But I shared with Mr. Singleton that we're not going to listen to the hecklers, the folks in the stands, telling us what, they think we should be doing as far as talking about one another. We should come together and be able to stand there together and take pictures during a campaign, because that's an example to our folks in District 1. And we serve a underserved community. I'm just going to be honest about that. We serve an underserved community. And we've already gotten District 1 has gotten a bad rap because of Mechanicville. And it's not that, like you said, Martin, that Mechanicville is bad, but it's just the perception that Mechanicville is bad when you say Senator Circle, because it's low-income housing and that type of thing. But on the face of it, myself and Mr. Singleton, we need to make sure that we get along. Win, lose, or draw, either way, we have to get along if we really do have District 1 best interests at heart. And I do, and he does as well.
And I think, not only representing District 1 by that example, you're representing all the districts. And they see it. People see it. And I agree. I used to go when Daddy collected insurance for Union National in District 1. Some great people. But like I said, they always got stereotyped because the press or whatever in the day was focusing on that area. You can go anywhere and find bad people, but you can go anywhere and find very good people. How would you work with we're going to have a new parish president, Ralph. Both parish president candidates seem to have very different ideas on how to do things. Neither right, neither wrong. What's your thoughts on that, and how well could you blend with either one?
Well, I always say, if you can't get along with me, you that's something you might have looked yourself in the mirror for. But I have no problem getting along with anyone. I like to see, I am an independent candidate, and people always ask me about that. Why aren't you a Republican? Why aren't you a Democrat? But, I like to hear a man for what he has to say. So, look, we could have a discussion, like Mr. Pledger said. We could have a discussion behind closed doors, and even if we do not agree with one another, I want to hear what makes you feel the way you feel, what makes you think the way you think, what makes you the way that you are. So I'm willing to work with anybody, and if it's going to benefit Terrebonne Parish, then so be it.
All right, Brian, take us to the break on that one. Like I said, new parish president, you've been working with Mr. Dove. As a consul and as a parish president, so many new projects have just blossomed. So I've seen y'all at work. And for those that think we didn't get a lot of projects done, I've been sitting here watching we've covered a lot of projects. So how will it be, if elected, working with the new parish president?
I won't have any problems working with the new administration, Martin. Currently, I work with Mr. Darren Guidry, and also I've seen the works of Mr. Jason Bazron. Both guys have a lot to offer Terrebonne Parish, whether you look at it as differences or some things that you might like or might not like. But they do bring a special need to Terrebonne Parish. And with that need that Terrebonne Parish will be faced with here in the next few weeks, I think it's much needed. Whether it's, one extreme or the next, Terrebonne Parish needs to move forward. And by moving forward, it's change, whether it's Darren Guidry or Jason Bazron. And I'll be able to work with either one of those guys. And what's given me that ability more so is the fact that I've been in the Navy. And the Navy gave me a certain set of skills that teaches you how to work with other countries, people from every walk of life. And that's what I'm most proud of.
I grew up with a Navy dad. He was in the Navy.
That's a good thing. So you know where I'm coming from.
They like discipline. No doubt about it. All right, let's take a break. We're going to be right back, our final segment with both candidates. And once again, this is District 1. Don't go away. Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough. All right, we are back. We're with Councilman Brian Pledger, and we're also with Ralph Singleton Jr., both candidates in District 1 in the runoff. And one thing we all agree on, it's cold in this room. They got that thermostat down. Hey, y'all been walking the neighborhood, or the district, I should say. And Councilman Pledger, let's start with you. What are you hearing out there? I mean, different districts we hear, definitely insurance, we hear drainage, we hear a lot of different things. But what's the number one thing you're hearing walking around?
The number one thing that I'm hearing from the folks out there as I'm beating the concrete out there during this campaign is that District 1 is forgotten about. In so many different ways, District 1 has been forgotten about. So I'll just give you a few examples to put it into perspective. The Bayou DeLarge area, which now also I think it needs to be known that some districts have been redistricted. So there's some new areas that are coming within District 1 for sure, and other districts alike. But one of those examples that just stand out to me is the upper portion of Bayou DeLarge, where you have the Crozier, Hidalgo Drive, the Paragon Park area, the drainage there. A lot of the constituents in that district or that area, they're telling me it rains for a half hour or so and they have water everywhere. And that's one of the things that, it kind of hits home because our current administration has done so much work as far as levees and flood protection, which the current administration did have an opportunity to secure us as a whole, but there still needs to be a little bit more work that needs to be done. And those are some of those workup areas, such as the Bayou DeLarge area. Also, in the more toward the city, your Village East, Mechanicville community, there's drainage projects that needs to be put in place there too as well. But the district as a whole, we do need to all work together and share. I would like for them to continue to share their concerns with me, because we do have a new administration coming in, and I'd like to, strike while the iron's hot so we can get some things done in District 1.
Okay, we got about 3 minutes left. Let me go to Ralph. Same question. What have you been hearing, as someone who is trying to connect with the older voters, but maybe tied in with some of the younger voters? Is there a difference between younger voters and the older voters, what they tell you about?
Absolutely. So more of the older voters, like Ms. Pledger said, you have your drainage, your insurance issues, but the younger voters, everybody wants, opportunities with work and companies and higher paying jobs. And, like with my generation, it's a technological era, and, the younger people, they want why the companies aren't hiring, or why I got to work this job, or why I got to start at this rate. You see that going around in the country, and mostly the people that I've talking to walking around, they just want to be heard, but I tell everybody, and I don't necessarily start off with, hey, look, my name's Ralph Singleton, I want you to vote for me. I introduce myself, but, how can we get everybody interactive in their community? We can't get everybody, we don't live in a perfect world, but at the same time, it's going to take a vast majority of everybody to come together in the community, to make change. Change first starts with everybody coming together, and it starts with going out and vote for change. Vote for what you feel in the community. If it's for me or Mr. Pledger, vote for your community, support your community, be productive in your community, be interactive in your community with one another. If something happens, speak up about it. Something's going on in your community, something's wrong with your community, call your local official, call your councilman, call your state rep.
Yeah. We probably don't have time to get into another question, but we can all agree. I'm concerned about low voter turnout.
Right.
And all we can do is urge people to go out. You got so many things competing on that day. You got hunting season opening. You got no governor's race. There's a governor elect already. No sheriff's race. You got a parish president's race. But if we go on by the numbers that we saw the other day, all we could do, I guess, is to urge everyone to use that right and to go on. A lot of people go, well, my vote don't count. I've seen some races over 40 years doing this that are 1 and 2 votes. Look, Gordy Dove won his first state rep race by 5. That's how he got the nickname Landslide Dove.
Yeah.
And we still joke with him about that today. And look what that, those 5 votes transformed into parish president, 2 terms and different things, and record money's brought into Terrebonne. So everybody can make a difference. But I want to thank y'all both again for running, trying to bring that spotlight on District 1, so many good people there. And for the example y'all both showed on the desk, but not only on the desk. It's easy to act like your friends when the light's on and the cameras are rolling, but when they're off, y'all are a great example, so thanks for that. I appreciate both of y'all coming in.
Thank you, Martin.
All right, there we have it. District 1 candidates. Let's go back to the 2-shot, and we'll let the public speak once again. We have Councilman Brian Pledger, and we have Ralph Singleton Jr., both candidates in that District 1 race. We'll take a break. We'll be back with a lot more. Don't go away.